Good afternoon, good morning everyone. Welcome to this quick presentation of Twinmotion and Twinlinker. I'm Tian Xiao, Community Manager of Twinmotion. Today we're going to look together some cool features in Twinmotion 2018. And I'm also going to introduce you the online platform Twinlinker. I'm going to show you how it works and how easy and fast you can create a virtual project using Twinlinker. We'll end up this webinar by a Q&A session where Martin, project manager, and I will take enough time to answer all of your questions, so be sure to stay until the end. Now let's get started. If you work in the architectural domain, you have tons of projects to be done in a limited of time. Twinmotion is definitely a software you need to discover. So what exactly is Twinmotion? Twinmotion is a real-time visualization software dedicated to architecture. It is developed using Unreal Engine. For those who are not familiar with Unreal Engine, it is the most popular and most used real-time engine in real-time world. People use it for creating video games, films, for advertising, for car designs, etc. And today we use the power of this real-time engine to create an intuitive and simple software dedicated to architecture, and that is Twinmotion. I keep talking about real-time, but what does it mean exactly? And what advantage will I have if I work in real-time? Let me give you an example. You have two images here. At the left side is an image rendered in a ray tracing software. The image took 47 minutes to render, which let's say a short lunchtime. On the left side, on the right side is an image rendered in Twinmotion in less than 1 second. But wait a minute, it's not only the quality I have in the final rendering image, it's also the quality I constantly working with in the real-time viewport of Twinmotion. Let me give you another example. So here are two images. Same ideas. On the left side, you have an image rendered in a standard rendering software. It has been done in 1.5 hours in 2K. And we can do the same image in 4K in less than 1 second in Twinmotion. So working in real time means that I no longer have to imagine how my final results will be if I change 1 or 2 parameters, because my final rendering is the same as what I see in the software. You import your CAD model into Twinmotion, and immediately you can begin to test different materials, test different light sources, and bring your image right in front of you in Twinmotion. Another main difference between Twinmotion, a real-time rendering software, and standard rendering software is simplicity. It's also one of our main goals. When we create Twinmotion, we want to create a software easy enough for every architect to create high-quality renderings without spending days on learning how to use the software. We call Twinmotion a plug-and-play software, which means once you launch Twinmotion, you can already play with it and have fun with it and output some images. So as an architect, you can finally spend more time on designing and do modifications until the last minutes thanks to the fast speed of Twinmotion. In Twinmotion 2018, we introduced a main feature called add-in. The add-in allows to create a real-time link between the CAD software and Twinmotion. So in the CAD software, in one single click, you can synchronize in real time your model into Twinmotion. And if you have your VR headset connected to your computer, in another one click, you can launch the VR mode and immerse yourself in the VR world. So before this kind of complicated process, you need a VR expert in your agency to do that. Today with Twinmotion, every architect can view their project in VR using Twinmotion. Now let's go inside of Twinmotion and see some cool features in a real project. Okay, so I arrived inside of Twinmotion now. As you can see, this is a CAD. This is a software. No, this is a 3D model rendered in a CAD software. It's just after the synchronization process. So during the synchronization, Twinmotion has done a few things automatically. First of all, there are 3 geometries which were imported into Twinmotion automatically, for example. And often in your CAD software, you have a native library with assets. There are objects, materials, vegetation. And once synchronized into Twinmotion, all these assets are replaced automatically by Twinmotion native assets. Let's take this tree as an example. The tree in your CAD software is a simple billboard in the shape of a tree. Once it is imported into Twinmotion, it is automatically replaced by a 3D animated trees which react to the winds and the season. Twinmotion also imported terrains. This terrain in this project, for example, is a topographic survey, a point cloud file. Once it is imported into Twinmotion, Twinmotion recognizes it as a native Twinmotion terrain that you can customize it and modify it with using some interesting tools. Let me show you these tools now. So I have a part of my terrain. When I click on it, I have 2 tools. I have the sculpt tool and the paint tool. So the sculpt tool, for example, when I go inside it, I have the possibility to rise a hill like this, very simple. I can dig a hole like this. I can even flatten a surface. Okay. Which means you no longer need to worry that how can I do if I import my terrain that I need to modify it later, or if, for example, here I need to add an extension of my project, what can I do? By using the sculpt tool, you can always do some simple modifications of your terrain. Now I'm getting back to the landscape panel, and I'm going to show you the paint tool. The paint tool allows me to quickly paint materials on my ground. For example, here I can paint forest ground. I can also paint grass in the same way. It's two very practical tools. To add vegetation in Twinmotion is also very simple. You can see the trees inside of my project. They are imported during the synchronization, but of course you can add trees by yourselves. I go to the library, vegetation and tree folder. By simply drag and drop a tree, I can add a new tree in my scene. I will add a few trees like this. Okay. Imagine you have a forest and you will be time consuming if you drag and drop a tree one by one. So in Twinmotion we also have a math vegetation tool that allows you to quickly add vegetation. So in the natural panel, vegetation, you see here I can add many trees. I will try to add some grass to my scene. Like this, I can quickly paint grass. And get closer to the grass so you can see that they are animated by the winds, same as all my trees and vegetation in the scene, and they react also to the weather system of Twinmotion. Talking about the weather system, what it is, I return to the nature panel, and here's the weather tool. The weather tool is quite simple. You have 2 sliders. The first slider controls the cloud coverage. and the second slider is controls the season. Anyway, it's quite evidence by seeing the icons here. So I'm trying to move the slider from summer, where I am now, to the winter. No, to the autumn first. You see, by moving the slider to the autumn, all my vegetation turns red and yellow, and there are leaves falling from the trees. Same as the grass, they are turning yellow, and there are more leaves falling on the ground. If I continue move the slider, season slider, I move it from autumn to winter, and suddenly all my scene turn white. I have the snow covered on all of my vegetations, all of my objects, and the river is frozen. And now I'm going to change the first slider, the cloud coverage. By moving the slider, you see on the sky that the cloud starts to accumulate, and at certain point, as I'm in winter, it starts to snow. It's quite fun, right? It's beautiful. And now I'm going back to autumn. So naturally, when I'm going back to autumn, it's getting warmer and it will start to rain. You just think as simple as it is, very smart system. So now I'm going back to a sunny day. Okay, so what have we seen already? We've seen the synchronization. The real-time synchronization is available for ArchiCAD and Revit for now, but Twinmotion is compatible with almost all the 3D modelers you can find on the market. Twinmotion is compatible with some 3D formats like FBX, SKP, OBJ, etc. So you can always find a format that is compatible with Twinmotion from your modeler 3D modeling tool. We have also seen how to customize the terrain, how to paint and add vegetation. We've seen the weather system. Now I think we can already create an image. Okay, so to create an image, I go to the media panel, image. Is quite simple. I just need to click the add button to create a first camera, and of course I can still change my camera views. I get closer to my project, make it at the center of my camera, and I click on the refresh button to up it to date. Now I can export it right away. I choose the image I just created and I export it to my desktop. So by default, Twinmotion export an image in 2K, but you can go up to 8K with Twinmotion. Now let's see what we got. Here is the image we've just created in a few seconds. You see, it's quite simple. Let's get back to Twinmotion. I quit the media mode. What I can do at any moment I work inside of Twinmotion is to activate the beam motion mode. The beam motion mode, you can get access to it here at eye icon and click on the little man icon. You can also, of course, press the shortcut F12. What is beam motion? Beam motion is basically a full screen mode that allows you to walk inside at the height of a human being. Is a new way to communicate a project, to put yourself and immerse yourself in the project like in a video game, to feel the space of a project before it is even constructed. So imagine now you have a VR headset connected to your computer. You can, in one single click, activate the VR mode and immerse yourself in the VR world. I don't know if you can hear, we've added some sound in the project. So normally you can hear my footsteps and maybe some birds singing. There are birds here. Now I'm going to activate the drone mode, and I'm getting closer to my project. I'm getting inside of the project. As we've said at the beginning of the presentation, that during the synchronization, Twinmotion will replace automatically all the materials from your CAD software by Twinmotion high quality, all the materials by the high quality materials in Twinmotion. As Twinmotion is quite a good prototyping tool, you can do modifications at any time. For example, you are presenting this project to your client and they are not satisfied with the material of the floor. And no stress, you can right away go to the material folder, choose a new material, for example this concrete material, and drag and drop to the ground. And have the effects right away in front of my eyes. You see, everything in Twinmotion is quite simple, and we can feel this simplicity through this user-friendly interface as well. Twinmotion's interface contains 3 parts. At the right side and the left side, we have the Twinmotion library we've seen since the beginning of the presentation. You can find a full list of materials, 3D animated characters, objects, and user library. The user library allows you to import your own 3D model and 3D objects and create your own materials and save to user library for future use. At the middle of the interface, you have the dock panel. The dock panel is where you can find all the tools and settings. For example, the concrete material I've just applied to the floor is still selected. So I have all these settings here in the dock panel related to this specific material. I can, for example, change its color, make it darker. I can play with the reflection, etc. At the left side, no, at the right side of the interface is the scene graph. The scene manager is where you organize all your your project. When you import your model from a CAD software, Twinmotion keep all the hierarchy you've set up in your modeling software inside the scene graph. It's a simple layer system that you can hide and on and off an object, a folder. You can also create a folder to well organize your project. So with Twinmotion, what media can we create? I'm going to show you. I'm going to the media mode, media panel. And we've already seen how to create an image. With Twinmotion, you can also create a panorama. Panorama is an image of 360 degree. Here I've already created several panoramas. I'm going to use them to create a virtual project in Twinlinker later. So we're going to see how to use this later in Twinlinker. We can also create videos. To create a video is as simple as create an image. By click on the plus button, I will create a first keyframe. The first keyframe will be used as the starting point of my video. And then I move inside the project and I click on the plus button to create a second keyframe. So by creating 2 keyframes, when I click on the play button, Twinmotion will automatically calculate a video using these 2 keyframes I've created. Of course, now I have choice to modify the length of my video. I can put 30 seconds. So now when I click play, it will become a clip of 30 seconds. The last kind of media we can create with Twinmotion is the beam motion. We've already seen the interface of beam motion just now when we walk inside of the project in full screen mode, but you can export this file. The beam motion, when you export it, it becomes an executable file that you can send to any clients, any stakeholders, and they can open the file without installing Twinmotion and walk inside the project to feel the space and look at how your design is. It's a new way of communication. And this executable file is also compatible with VR headsets, Oculus Rift, and HTC Vives. among these 4 media that can be created with Twinmotion, the first 3 of them can all be exported directly to Twinlinker. So now I'm going to switch to Twinlinker and show you how to create a virtual visit inside of Twinlinker. Okay, now I'm inside Twinlinker. Is the interface. It's very clean interface. At the left side is all my media exported from Twinmotion. But in the very near future, it's also possible to export media directly from Atlantis to Twinlinker. So using Twinlinker, we can easily create and share a virtual project. For example, now I select the night scene. The night scene is one of the panorama I created in Twinmotion. By click on the preview, I can have a short preview of how it is, my panorama. Now to create a virtual visit, I simply need to click on the red button, New Virtual Visit. The idea is quite simple. You need to create different hotspots to link all your panorama created in Twinmotion or in Atlantis to link them together. For example, here, I click the Add button to add a hotspot. Then I can choose where to place this hotspot. I put it near the stair. And now I simply need to choose the panorama related to the stair to link it together. So I choose the stair. Now I just link the night scene panorama and the stair panorama together. So I can go to the panorama, the stair panorama, and then it's the same idea. I will create another hotspot and in the list find the related one. This one, for example. So you understand the idea. It's quite easy to create a virtual project. I'm going to show you directly how it looks like the final results. Here is the first scene. Then I click the stair to switch to the stair panorama. I can click to go inside. I can also create a hotspot to make a display of all my media, for example, the images. And also we can put videos if we want. Okay, so that's pretty much all I'd like to present in this short presentation, Twinmotion and Twinlinker. And now I'm going to play the trailer video of the latest update, Twinmotion 2000 in V2, just in case you've never seen it yet. And Martin and I are ready to take some questions. So if you have questions, just go ahead. We will take enough time to answer all of them. Okay, I have one question from Amin Belidrai. Sorry if I haven't well pronounced your name. The terrain should be in which format? You can see the format supported by Twinmotion if you click Import Terrain and you click Open. So in the opened window, you can see all the files supported. For example, there are R16, PNG, and there are point cloud format TXT, XYZ. You can see it directly, it's indicated directly in the software. Left or right? Yeah. Don't hesitate to ask all the questions you have about Twinmotion. We have enough time here. is in the future the next update? We're currently working on a next update, but we're not ready to announce any date yet. But I invite you to follow our social media channel, especially Facebook. We have a Facebook user group where our users are very active in the user group. We're also presented in the group to answer questions, etc. So I invite you to follow our Facebook channel, to sign up newsletters, so you will be the first to learn if there's a new update. Okay, I have some questions. I will need help from Martin, so I invite Martin to reply some questions.
Hi, thank you, Tang Xiao. So yeah, I see a question regarding the export to Unreal Engine. So yet it's still planned. We have announced it last year. We are still working on it. It's a tricky process to export a Twinmotion scenes to Unreal, but it will be possible in the future. It won't be possible in the next update, but we are still working on it. Can you show how a SketchUp file can be imported in Twinmotion? So let's just maybe switch back to Twinmotion. So to import a SketchUp file, here you can see my screen. I will just click on the Import tab, open, and here as you can see in the file we support at the import, we can see the native SKP format. It's as simple as that. How to export a video is sound. Yeah, right now the sound is only available in Bmotion in real time when working with Twinmotion. Right now it's not possible to export any video directly with the sound.
How to use the own library in which format?
So to use to create object for on your library, you just have to import one model in your scene, as you will import any model, any project actually. And just in the scene graph, you just right click on the object or on the folder you want to add to your user library. And in the right click panel, you will have the option to add this object to your user library.
Can Twinmotion link to ArchiCAD real time? What does it mean?
So yeah, with ArchiCAD we have a direct link. So if you go to the Twinmotion website, we have an add-in that you can download that install itself directly inside ArchiCAD. And from ArchiCAD, in just one click, you can synchronize your project with Twinmotion and visualize it in real time right away. It didn't go to the cloud, it's local, just a one-click synchronization.
Okay, there's so many questions.
So yeah, I see. As you said, there is lots of questions. So let's just forward a bit in the chat panel to don't miss anyone. So can you go to the import process and now to add fog, please? So let's just switch back to Twinmotion. As I tell you, to import a file, you click on the import, open, and just here you select the file you want to import and you press the OK button, and it's that simple. You just import your file like this. If you have ArchiCAD or Revit, you install the add-in that's available on the Twinmotion website, and in just one click you can synchronize your project with Twinmotion. To add fog, I simply switch to the furniture library, particles, and here we have two different fog bank, a small one and some just ground fog that's really low. So it's as simple as that. So with our Windows Mixed Reality supported. So right now, no, it's not supported.
Windows Mixed Reality. I remember someone asked me recently. Actually, is technically it should support if you use Steam VR. So
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you should download an installer from Steam VR store, and normally it should work with Twinmotion, but we don't do support on this. Officially, Twinmotion is only compatible with Oculus Rift and HTC Vive. How to synchronize Twinmotion with ArchiCAD 21 from the question from Prince. Okay, so from Twinmotion website you can download the add-in from Twinmotion with ArchiCAD 21. So in ArchiCAD 21 you have a button to named C in Twinmotion. So when you click it, it will automatically launch Twinmotion and synchronize all your project in Twinmotion. So it's very simple. But you need to first download the add-in and install the add-in from our website.
I saw a question regarding SketchUp and how to use your SketchUp and import them as terrain inside Twinmotion. So let me again come back to Twinmotion. To import a mesh or a point cloud flies and make it act as a Twinmotion terrain, you simply have to click on the Import tab, and by default we are in geometry mode. That means that you import your model as a geometry, as your project, but you can also choose the landscape tab. And now here you will just select your SketchUp file. You can see here it's supported, and it will just react as a terrain, as a Twinmotion terrain. So yeah, there is a lot of questions regarding the terrain. So it's work like this for SketchUp, but actually for any format we support at the import, any format you can import them as a terrain. So yes, the exporting the video with the sound, it's something planned, of course.
Yeah, currently the sound is not exported with the video. Is only activated in real-time mode, like in the viewport or in Vmotion, but we definitely planned to export it too in the future. Case was asked, could you possibly add 3D connection support? It's already in the wish list, but it's not a priority. Perhaps not in the next update, but we will take it into consideration in a future version.
So yeah, there is a question regarding the phasings. So let me just come back to Twinmotion.
Atakan asked, can you show us the phasing and how to use? Okay, Martin will show you how to use.
So to create a phasing, the phasing work, first actually, the scene graph work a bit like Photoshop. It's, no, it's okay. The phasing work a bit like Photoshop. So it's a folder system that you can turn on and off. So for example, here if I switch to the phasing tab, you see I have a few different phases. For example, the night scene one with all the fogs and the default one with no fogs. To create a new phase, you just click on the plus, and actually everything that is present in the viewport at the moment of you create your phase will be present in your phase. So for example, let's just select some piece of my project, like this wall over here. Maybe my glass panel on the side, and maybe even some part of my roof. To create a phase, I will just click now on the plus button, and here I have a new phase. And if I switch back to my default phase, I will have the complete building. So to create a phase, you just need to hide some objects, create your phase, and of course you can select a phase, update it. For example, if I switch back to this one and I want to hide more objects like the remaining part of my roof, like this one, I will just hide this remaining part and click on the refresh button. This will refresh my phase. Back to the questions. Do the SketchUp material also import? So yeah, we import all the texture that you have set up in SketchUp.
Where the prince asked where and how to add library, please.
So again,
So you need to
let's come back to Twinmotion. So to add an object to the library, you just select your object into the Scene Manager on the right side. You right click on it and you press the small three dot here, and you just click on Add to User Library. And to add a material to the library, you select the material picker tool to actually select the material you want to add to the library. And the same ID, you click on the three dots and add to your user library. And then your object and your material will be saved into your user library folder.
Is SketchUp 2018 supported now? Unfortunately, not yet. SketchUp 2018 is released after the latest release of Twinmotion, so unfortunately it's not supported. But we will surely up Twinmotion to date and support SketchUp 2018 in the future, in the very near future.
I saw a question regarding the Substance Designer materials. So we don't support the native Substance file format, but you can of course create your material using Substance and export the materials as a PNG or on any resolution you want, and create your materials, the exact material, directly inside Twinmotion using those maps. So in Twinmotion we use the diffuse, the normal map, the roughness, the metallicness, and the glow map. So all those maps, you can export them directly from Substance Designer or any texture making software, and you can import them into Twinmotion to create your own material. So is it possible to open an IFC file? Right now we don't support the IFC, sorry. We don't support the IFC file format right now. So we have to use another format to exchange from the CAD software to the visualization software. Will there be an iOS mobile application for Twinlinker like iVisit 360? Access panorama through the so right now it's not planned, but we want to have some kind of offline version of Twinlinker where you'll be able to just download your virtual visit. So we will have something for that in the future. Right now, indeed, it's only online, and there is no dedicated app for that. Can you use beam motion with Gear VR by Oculus? So Gear VR is by Samsung. It's just to put your smartphone on it. So with Twinlinker, it's compatible. But to use the beam motion and to really navigate in real time, you will have to use the Oculus VR headset. But it's two different things. The Gear VR is just to visualize panorama, images, or video using just the headset with the smartphone on it.
Yeah.
And for the beam motion, it's really real time. It has to be plugged in with a computer because it does require a great GPU. And it's compatible, of course, with the Oculus VR headset.
Is it possible, Atakan asked, is it possible to delete someone object from user library? Yeah, you can delete objects you've saved or material saved in the user library, not directly from Twinmotion. However, you can go to directly to your computer, disk C, user folder, document, and the user library. You can delete directly from your computer. But of course, we know that it's not the best way to manage user libraries. So we have something in mind for the next version. You will have an easier way to manage your user library.
I saw also a question regarding how to import a landscape from one project to another. And actually, with Twinmotion, we can you can merge different Twinmotion files between each other. So you can select your first Twinmotion file and merge inside it another file, and you can merge your landscape in the new terrain like this. Indeed, with the user library, it's not meant to save directly terrain. So the idea will be just to merge this different Twinmotion file and retrieve the landscape like that.
How to add extra library?
So how to add extra library like new cars or new objects? So we keep working on the library. So if you want to add your own object, you can add them in the user library, but it won't react to the system like the path and the vehicle system we have in Twinmotion. But you can, of course, like this, create your own object, save them inside your user library to use them for every future project. But to add more objects that will react in the whole ecosystem of Twinmotion, you can't do that. But we working on Twinmotion, we are keeping working on the library of Twinmotion, and we keep adding stuff to the library. So we'll keep adding more objects to the library, of course.
Use multiple GPU.
So no, can Twinmotion use multi-GPU? So no, right now we don't support the SLE. So right now we use just the power of the first GPU. Can you add North Gizmo? So yes. So it's planned for the future. So yes, we have added a compass especially for setting up the North. So it will be present in the near future. And why we are limited in shared link number? It's because the new Twinlinker will be using the privilege card. It's comment tu dis abonnement? It's a subscription. Yes, it will be a subscription that allow you to have a direct contact with the support platform, formation. And it will allow you also to use this Twinlinker new platform.
Yeah. Currently, Twinlinker is still in beta phases, beta period. So that's why you have limited export, limited time for export.
I saw a comment that's saying that Twinmotion is good, but quality of reflection is not as great. With the next update, we are working hard on the reflection. So in the next update, there will be a huge improvement regarding the reflection. So stay tuned. We should launch a post regarding that in maybe still today, but if not, just in a few days, teasing just one of the new features that will come in the next update.
Yeah. So if you want to see this little teasing, you need to follow us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the project geolocated when importing? Not automatically, but directly inside Twinmotion, you can precisely geolocate your project, and it will use an heliodon, a realistic heliodon that will give the real lighting of your scene depending of the time of the year you have set up. The subscription is only for Twinlinker. Twinmotion is a perpetual license. How do you get the latest version of Twinmotion? So the update is automatic. So if you didn't see it directly inside Twinmotion, in the Help tab at the top of the screen, you can click on the Check Update. So normally it should be automatic, but maybe you have missed the latest update. So right now we are at the V2 update. I think we are reaching the end of the questions.
We're running out of questions, so we like to thank you again for joining us. If you like this live streaming, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss the next